This is an audio description of the exhibition Making Sense in the Tower Foyer Gallery at the University of Dundee. I'm standing outside the front of a large multi-storey building, unusually built not of concrete like most tower blocks, but of traditional stone and wood. This is the Tower Building, the main administrative building of the University of Dundee, and also home to the two public exhibition galleries of the University of Dundee museums, the Tower Foyer Gallery, where we're headed, and the Lamb Gallery, which is one floor up from that. So now let's head inside. So I'm just going through the revolving door to enter the building. There is also a push-button accessible entrance immediately to the left of this. And now we're inside. There is a reception desk immediately to the right, so if you have any questions they can help you there, but you don't have to report there, you can just head straight forwards to a big open area. To the left there's a corridor that heads off, and there's an accessible toilet just there as well, with standard toilets along at the end of the corridor. Over to the right there are 3 lifts, and beyond that stairs heading up to the other floors. The gallery space is in 2 parts. At right angles to where the lifts are on the right, there are 3 display cases against a wood-panelled wall. And over to the left is the main gallery wall, running most of the length of the foyer. So we're going to start over there. At the left-hand side of the gallery wall is a panel which introduces the exhibition. I'll read it out. It says, "Making Sense, a multi-sensory approach to art." Art exhibitions normally rely on the power of sight, but how might we experience them using other senses? This exhibition showcases the research of Jinyu Eevee Han, a PhD student exploring sensory design at Duncan of Jordanstone College of Art and Design. Eevee has been collaborating with Dundee Site Support and Social Hub and North East Sensory Services to create tactile models and audio descriptions for blind and partially sighted visitors. The exhibition invites you to experience a range of artworks using non-visual methods of interpretation. There are tactile models that you can touch, audio descriptions you can listen to, and some sensory artworks that were designed to be felt and smelt. So that's the text of the introductory panel. Below this there's a map of the space to help you navigate it, available in both printed and 3D laser-cut relief form. There are also some visual aids that are available to pick up and use during your visit, magnifiers and colour transparencies to help readability of the text. If you're using these, please return them when you're finished. Finally, in this introductory section, there are large print versions of an accessibility guide that provides more information about the exhibition and the different sensory aids available. Most of that content is included in this audio description. So now I'm going to start working my way along the gallery wall, and the first section here focuses on Eevee's research and the work she's done so far. Eevee's research has been undertaken in collaboration with the DCA, which stands for Dundee Contemporary Arts, Dundee Site and Sport and Social Hub, and North East Sensory Services. She invited blind and partially sighted volunteers to visit various exhibitions at DCA, testing out various types of tactile model and audio description. So the first thing we come to is a panel featuring a selection of 6 previous tactile models made by Eevee, all of which relate to a textile artwork made in 2024 by the artist Helen Kamek that was in the DCA exhibition Soft Impressions. There's a photo of the artwork as well. It features a number of geometric shapes on a plain background representing the slave trade and the textile industry, with the text "Courage We'll Need" on the middle left and "Dark Days and Fine" at the bottom right. Visitors are welcome to touch the various tactile models, so I'm just doing that now. They're made of various materials, wood, card and plastic, so each one has a different feel and allows you to experience the features of the artwork in a different way. To the right of that are photos of volunteers from Dundee Site Support and Social Hub attending some of Eevee's workshops at DCA last year. They're exploring 2 pieces by the artist Lauren Galt from her exhibition Bone, Stone, Voice Alone, and there are also close-up photos of these works beside them. One looks like a section of rock face on a wall, and the other is like a cave with carvings on 2 large stone walls. Both of these have QR codes on the labels next to them, and you can scan them to listen to previous audio descriptions of them created by volunteers from Dundee Site Support and Social Hub during Eevee's workshops. Below these various pieces is a large white plinth placed against the gallery wall, and on top of the plinth is an interactive installation made of laser-cut plywood. It's called the Wheel of Touch, and it contains several individual tactile models that can be rotated. So if I just nudge the wee joystick on the middle left of the device, it starts to rotate, and the next tactile panel drops down, and then I can hold it in my hands and feel it. These tactile models all relate to artworks that are in the DCA exhibition We Contain Multitudes, based on artworks by Daisy Lafarge and Andrew Gannon. And again, there are also reproductions of the artworks themselves on the plinth. Well, I'm now moving to the right again. And we come on to the first of 3 artworks that have been chosen from the university's collections to represent different forms and styles of art, as a way of testing out Eevee's tactile models and the different audio descriptions. The first one is a large landscape painting, about 4 feet by 3.5 feet, called Canal or River Scene, by the artist William York McGregor, who lived from 1855 to 1923. It's an oil on canvas and was painted in 1895. McGregor was known as the father of the famous Glasgow Boys, and like them, he chose to depict everyday scenes of working life. In this traditional rural scene, a man accompanies a large horse pulling a barge loaded with hay. Canals and waterways were once vital supply routes, but by the time this scene was painted, they were already being superseded by the railways. On the label to the right of the picture, there's a QR code, which you can scan to listen to a detailed audio description of it. And Eevee's also created a new tactile model representing the painting. So I'm just feeling that now. It highlights the most prominent features of the painting: the man and the horse, the barge, and the trees on the horizon. I feel different textures to represent land, sky and water. Let's move along to the next painting now. This one's a portrait in a big chunky frame, not quite as big as the landscape, but still about 3 feet by 4 feet. It's by the artist David Foggy, who lived from 1878 to 1948, and depicts the businessman Sir James Caird. It's an oil on canvas, painted around 1928. James Caird was one of Dundee's wealthiest jute merchants, having inherited his father's business at Ashton Works. After the death of his wife and daughter, he began to give significant donations to local causes, such as Dundee Royal Infirmary, as well as helping to fund Egyptian archaeological excavations and Antarctic exploration. He's best known for funding both Caird Hall and Caird Park here in Dundee. This portrait was commissioned after his death, so the artist had to base it on a photograph. It depicts Caird as a scholar rather than a businessman. On the label to the right of the picture, there's another QR code, which you can scan to listen to a detailed audio description of it. And again, Eevee's created a new tactile model to represent the painting, which I'm just feeling now. I can immediately make out the figure of Caird, the features of his face, his clothes, and the books on the desk beside him. Moving to the right again, we come to the third artwork, and this one is quite different from the other 2. It's a wooden glass-fronted box, about 1.5 by 2 feet, mounted on the wall in the same way as a painting, but inside the box there's an arrangement of curious wooden objects and painted shapes. It's by the artist Fred Stiven, who lived from 1929 to 1997. It's called Disco Box 2, and it's an example of what's known as a box construction, made in 1973. It's really intriguing artwork, this, since it's both a painting and a sculpture. Its various wooden parts are arranged in an apparently random way, but still create a sense of harmony and balance. Could it be an abstracted still life, or an aerial view of a landscape? Again, scan the QR code to listen to a detailed audio description, and there's another tactile model to feel that allows you to experience the different shapes and the way they're layered. This is the most three-dimensional of the models, so do feel this one carefully and watch out for some pointy bits. In the next section of the exhibition, we have a different sensory experience. Here, the artworks themselves can be touched. The artist created them intending that audiences interact directly with them by feeling them and smelling them. The first one we come to is quite a large piece, about 3.5 feet square, featuring various fabrics and other materials bulging out of a wooden frame. It's called Fields, and it was made in 2025 by the artist Leah Macmillan, born in 2001, a recent graduate from Duncan of Jordanstone College of Art and Design. Macmillan's artworks focus on textures and materials to be explored in a multi-sensory way. She was inspired by her grandmother, a keen painter who lost her eyesight and was unable to experience art in the same way as before. Macmillan's work uses a variety of materials that are designed to create different sensations when touched, as well as different sounds and smells. Through works like this, inspired by an aerial view of fields in a landscape, the audience is encouraged to discover alternative ways of connecting and immersing themselves in art. You're welcome to touch this yourself, but please ensure that your hands are clean before doing so. I'm just feeling it now. It's an extraordinary mix of different materials, textures and patterns that really give the sense of a patchwork landscape. Beside that on the wall is a much smaller piece, only about 9 by 10 inches, called Defence, made in 1995 by the artist Karen Scopa, who lived from 1974 to 2017. It's made of felt and other materials on a wooden base, and it resembles a sea anemone or some other marine organism with lots of little spiky points. In this case, they're soft and can be safely touched without injury. It's got a wonderful kind of furry feel to it, and as I touch one of the spines, I can feel all the others moving in response. Below this, on a small white plinth, there are various other pieces that can also be touched. These are design pieces by two graduates from Duncan of Jordanstone College of Art and Design, Katie Brown, born in 1992, who studied jewellery and metal design, and Grace Atkinson, born in 2001, who studied textile design. In both cases, there are examples of their work in the museum collections, which are on display in one of the cases in the other part of the exhibition. But these are additional pieces that were donated for use in the museum's sensory backpack. Again, we'll come back to that later. Katie Brown's pieces are necklaces made in 2016 out of silicone. They're from a series called Cellular, and she describes them as wearable artworks. They were inspired by the organic structures of human cells, which she viewed under a microscope in the School of Life Sciences. Using thermochromic dyes, they were also designed to interact with the wearer, changing colour in different environments. Picking them up, they feel cold and clammy to the touch, and the various shapes and textures also suggest marine creatures like sea urchins. They feel very different to the textile pieces by Grace Atkinson, which are knitted and woven samples made in 2023 from wool and various fabrics. In making these, Atkinson was interested in the fact that textiles are a constant presence in our lives, providing comfort from birth until death. They're also inherently tactile. Her collection of sensory textiles encourages touch and smell. She hopes that interacting with them will trigger happy memories and help to support well-being. We've now reached the end of the main gallery wall. Immediately to the right of the wall there's a request for feedback with another QR code to scan, which takes you to an online form. But first, let's head over to the other part of the exhibition on the wood-panelled wall round the corner from the lifts. As we head over there, we pass two large white pillars. The second of these has a large blue sculpture beside it. This is a permanent feature and not part of the exhibition, but you're welcome to look at it and touch it. It's a statue of Urwally, the popular DC Thomson cartoon character from the Sunday Post, and was part of a sculpture trail from 2016 involving numerous Urwallys around Dundee. This one is painted as the character Dr. Manhattan from the groundbreaking 1980s comic Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Anyway, let's move on to the display cases. There are three cases, two tall ones and one tabletop one in the middle. The case on the left shows prototypes and development work for Eevee's tactile models, made in 2024 and 2025. There are pieces made of wood and acrylic showing her different attempts to reproduce shape, texture and pattern. There are also some tactile models that relate to another textile artwork by Helen Kamek called I Decided I Want to Walk, which was also in the Soft Impressions exhibition in DCA. It's similar to the previous one, but with a different arrangement of shapes and text. On the wall above the middle case, there are more photos of volunteers attending Eevee's workshops at the DCA, feeling the artworks and recording audio descriptions based on their initial impressions. Sitting on top of the middle case are two fabric sculptures, both of which can be picked up and touched. One is about 2 feet by 1 foot, made of cotton, polyester and monofilament. It's mostly orange with red and white stripes on one side and purple and white stripes on the other. It's like a big, plump cushion, but with spiky points all over it. It's an untitled piece made in 2018 by the textile artist Megan Brown, born in 1997. Brown's work was based on the concept of sensory play and the developmental benefits it has for young children. This led her to create a series of soft sculptures that are both visually and physically stimulating. Her aim is to use interactive design to create dynamic, playful environments that capture a child's curiosity to explore, play and learn. I'm just feeling it now. It has quite a rough texture and the various curling spikes make it really interesting to touch. The other is smaller, about 1 foot by 6 inches, oval in shape. It has a smoother surface, though with some lines of thread sewn into it to add some texture. It's mostly turquoise blue with splashes of other colours across it, as if someone has accidentally flicked a paintbrush across it. This piece was made in 2018 by Johanna Tonner, born in 1993. Her work uses photography, printmaking and sculpture to explore themes of femininity and mental health. She aims to portray the strength and vulnerability of women by taking vibrant prints, representative of the mind and distortions of the female form, and transforming them into soft sculptures that audiences are encouraged to feel and interact with. She hopes to create a sensual, comforting experience to help reduce anxiety. Finally, we come to the last display case. The first thing in this is a clear plastic backpack, full of different objects and images, and with some of its contents spread out in front of it. This is the University of Dundee Museum's Sensory Backpack. It was created in 2021 to 22. It was made to be taken into care homes, community centres and other venues where people might have sensory impairments and may not be able to visit us in person. The backpack features various sensory aids that relate to objects and artworks in the university's museum collections. Among the items we can see are a 3D printed nautilus shell, a lino-cut print block, some little jars with different scents in them, 3 little square canvases with different textures of paint on them and brushes beside them, and 2 laser-etched replicas of pressed plant specimens. There's clearly a lot more still inside the backpack, which is available for any group or residential centre to borrow. Also in this case are further examples of work by Katie Brown and Grace Atkinson, similar to the ones that we were able to touch at the end of the main gallery wall. So we've reached the end of the exhibition. I hope you've enjoyed experiencing it via this audio tour. Please feel free to go back and listen to the other audio descriptions or have another feel of the various tactile models and artworks. And if you do have time to leave some feedback, that would be very helpful for Evie's research. Thanks very much for listening.